Hey guys, welcome back. We are on the road to the surprise location with I guess it's a show, but this year it's been canceled and it is a private show that is kind of a friends and family deal, and I was lucky enough to get an invite to it. So I'm not going to tell you any more than that. The weather does not look real great right now, but hopefully when we get there, things clear up and it turns out to be a really great couple days. So back behind me, that's my bedroom. So I'll be spending the night in my back seat, and if that doesn't work out, I'll just spend the night in the front seat. So anyways, I wanted to talk about the recent passing of 9/11 and kind of share my story about where I was during that time and how it influenced my life and my choices professionally. When 9/11 happened, I'll kind of give you the play-by-play of that morning of where I was, and I think that everybody should think about this day every year and where you were and how it affected your life and how it affected us as a country and as a people. Not as what's been so pushed in the media today and in politics and everything about the divisions and all this stuff that's going on. I think it's really important that days like today need to be brought to the forefront and remembered, and remember what it felt like, not so much on September 11th but on September 12th. The pride and the unity and the American spirit of our country, and that's what makes us great. The melting pot as we are is what makes us great. But anyways, on 9/11/2001, I was in 10th grade, and I was just getting into our second hour class, which was a metal technology class, or a welding class, if you will. And we were just going through our daily announcements for the class for the day, and my teacher of that class was a high-ranking general for the Minnesota National Guard, and he was just addressing the class, getting us set up for the day, and my assistant principal walked in with a walkie-talkie in one hand and I'll never forget the look on his face. It was a completely blank look, just a dead stare, and he walked right to my teacher and grabbed him by the shirt on the shoulder and pulled him in, whispered something into his ear, and my teacher's face went blank. And then my assistant principal just walked out. And the teacher, Mr. Trost was his name, he put his hand on the overhead projector. For a lot of you younger kids, you may not know what an overhead projector is, so go ahead and Google it. But he put his hand on the overhead projector, and he just kind of stood there for a minute and looked at all of us. And he said, "There's something you kids need to know about. This country's under attack." And we all we were shocked. Nobody said nothing. And immediately after he said that, he didn't tell us to go to work. He didn't tell us what to do. He just went straight to his office and picked up the phone. And I can't even imagine the conversations that he was having, as one of the highest ranking generals in the state National Guard. I can't even imagine what, it was amazing to see him go from teacher to soldier, just automatic. And us kids, we all just went to work in the steel shop. What projects we were working on, we went to work. But I'll tell you, it was never, nobody really talked to each other, and it was an eerie silence especially for a steel shop. I mean, you could hear people working, but there wasn't the normal grinding and banging and cutting and welding noises that you typically hear. It was just this quiet, almost like being in a, I can't even describe it, but that was how we found out. And we didn't have, I don't think we had a television in that room. Maybe we did, but it wasn't until the next class that I got to see what was actually happening. And it was an advertising and sales class, and my teacher for that class had a lot of friends and colleagues that were working in New York and in the Twin Towers, and he was just distraught. I mean, and that's pretty much all we did all day long. Was every class we went to, we just watched everything unfold live on TV. And I will never forget the images, and the images of all of the heroes that were running towards certain death to try to rescue people, and then the images of people in the towers begging for help and jumping because they were forced to. It was either burn alive or jump, and I'll never forget that. I get pretty emotional just thinking about it, because it's horrible. I mean, it's a horrible thing. But that day, it changed something in me, and I wasn't sure what route I was going to take. But as I got older, I wasn't sure if I was going to go in the military or go to college or go into law enforcement, but I knew that I wanted to do something to give back to my community, to serve my community. And I came very close to joining the military in about 2010 or 11. I was unemployed and the economy was trash, and I was in a bad way for money, and I thought, well, I can't find a job making anything, so I'm just gonna have to maybe join the military just to, it was kind of my last resort. Not that the military is a bad decision, but for the reason I was thinking about it was not the right reason. You should never make that decision just because you need money. It's something to be taken seriously, and it's a very, very honorable and commendable decision to make. And I ended up not going that route. I went as far as taking my entrance exams and doing the physicals and all of that, but something told me that I just needed to wait and really think about this, because I had a mortgage, I had a dog that I needed to care for, and this decision was bigger than just me leaving my parents' house, because that wasn't the case. I was living on my own, and I had been for quite some time, several years. But I ended up being in college and changed my degree major several times, which many people do, because there's just so many options, and at that age you really don't know what you want to do. But I ended up falling into the idea of law enforcement, and at the time the career outlook for somebody of my stature was not real great. So I completed school, but during school I fell into a job of being a corrections officer at the state prison, and it's turned out to be one of the best decisions that I've ever made. It's allowed me to give back to the community and serve honorably. I'm proud to wear a uniform. I'm proud to have the American flag on my shoulder, and I'm proud of the coworkers I have, because if you've never been in a prison and you've never experienced that environment, it is a completely different world. It's you get used to being at an elevated level of awareness and alert, and it's that there's a threat there all the time. And one of the biggest things in all realms of law enforcement and military that can kill you or hurt you badly is complacency. So that is something that you can never let go of when you are on the job. And that goes for a lot of jobs, whether it's, military, law enforcement, agriculture, any type of job that has an occupational hazard. Complacency is a bad thing. So you always have to keep your head in the game. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, and I know that this video is supposed to be centered around where we're headed, not this day in general, but I feel that this day needs to be remembered and needs to be talked about and needs to be taught in our lives, because it's very important. And history itself is very important, and that's why we do these tractor restorations and keep these things going, because it's important that the younger generations see what it took just to feed your family, feed America, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago, compared to what it is now. And I mean, farming now is still very, very hard work. It's an all-day job, all night. But imagine plowing 2 or 3 rows at a time versus plowing, 12 to 20 rows at a time. That's a big difference. And, again, I'm off on a tangent here, but it all comes down to the importance of history and the importance of the unity of our country and the spirit of our country. And I really feel like people have forgotten. I really feel that. And I don't know, maybe it comes with the advent of how advanced our technology is now. It just, everything moves so quickly, and people move on and forget, and there's always something new and flashy in your face, and I don't know. But anyways, I want to take a moment to thank anybody in any realm of public safety, security, military, law enforcement, firefighters, ambulance, EMTs, everybody that serves their community. I think you all need to be commended, because I mean, you're helping your fellow man. So, and most of those professions, they don't get paid real well. I mean, they really don't. So where the payoffs come in is the benefits, and paid vacation time and medical insurance and things like that. But there's also a sacrifice that is to be made. Police and corrections, for example, usually their average lifespan after retirement is 3 to 5 years. So if you retire at 55, you'll be lucky to see 60. Now that's a national average. I think if you break it down by state, it's it's going to be a much different figure. But you know, it's a sacrifice. But anyways, I wanted to take 15 minutes and share my story of 9/11 and how it impacted my life and decisions professionally, and thank everybody that was involved, is still involved, and will be involved at some point in their life in community service. So with that, I'll leave you wondering where we're headed, and the next view of the camera will be our destination. So we'll talk to you guys when we get there.